Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the On Time, On Target Morning Brief, where we invest with fighter pilot precision every day. Have a great show for you today, and welcome to earnings season. So we're going to talk a lot about how the banks kick off earnings season. So we're going to go through some big names and whether or not you should invest in those. Is now a good time? How's that play out? Excuse me, with the new administration that's coming in, and then we're also going to talk about what actually goes into an earnings release as our question of the day there. So pretty exciting stuff. A lot of day trading opportunities within earnings because a lot of stocks move 5, 10, 20, sometimes percent off of the earnings release. So we'll get into that here in a little bit. If you're catching us on replay, thanks for subscribing and clicking the notification bell so you get the notifications every day. And if you want to join us live, it's only $25 to come on in the room. It's a great way to invest in yourself. So let's go ahead and get started. Started that way. All right, welcome back, everyone. Make sure you're all set up in the chat window and the Q&A window. You can see there, Predator's already talking about the marijuana stocks. We've been talking about these for some time now. Yeah, they're on fire. Even, MJ is the ETF that I use. You can buy it here. It just went north of 20 today or yesterday, this morning. That's fine. When you look at individual names, Tilray, Afria, just literally on fire. The legalization, or I think decriminalization is coming first and then legalization second. I think that is an easy agenda to put some money behind for the next 4 years. All right, let's get into today's topic, which is our earnings season kickoff. But before we do, quick disclaimers: the financial education presentations, you have to do your own due diligence before you act upon anything you hear in this show. Full disclaimer information is available at ototnow.com. Now let's get started. Welcome to today, Friday, as I like to say it. January 15th, had a good week so far in investing. But what's in store today? Yeah, big red numbers today. We had Biden's announcements of the megatrillions lottery, right? Haha. But the stimulus bill last night, 1.9 trillion. We'll get into that more in the headlines. But yeah, I thought that would be met with positivity in a Friday situation. It is not. So it is sold off. I think we also have the employment number this morning. I have not seen it yet. So we'll take a look at that as well. All right, mission objectives today: grow our money, protect our money, live off our money. Specifically, we're talking to grow our money situation with earnings season and banks that kick it off. So should you be invested in banks? We'll talk a little bit about that more in a second. Here's the 6 tickers down here that we're going to take a look at specifically. The question of the day is, what is in the earnings release? This is worth going over each time, and we'll talk about not only what's in it, but what moves the market or moves the stock price based off the earning release and the timing of that. So we'll get into that here in a little bit. All right, flow is going to be long, short, open, short, long. We're going to go around the world and check out how the markets are doing, including how our futures are here in the U.S. From there, we'll get into the headline review of the day. We'll get into long-term names that we mentioned. Short-term execution, I do have a few trades put into the room. The longs are not like gapping up, but they are gapping up. But they're not headline long, so they're just themes, which is long MJ, right? It's been on fire. I think today will be here too. So it's not necessarily get your 3R in 2 minutes, but it's a long for the day. If you're going to day trade it, it's a theme that's probably just going to carry long. Same with PLTR. That's Palantir. They got downgraded Monday. They've been bouncing back from that. They're up over 5% this morning. The short with Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo is like hated, and it should be. and they paid a penalty for kind of selling you all those accounts you don't need and all that stuff. So they're in the penalty box. They kind of recovered from that, but I think they're going to continue to sell off today. They're down pretty hard this morning already. All right, we'll execute the open, get into the question of the day. If you have any contingencies, reach out to me at steve@ototnow.com. While I'm thinking about it, Monday's a holiday. Check. I'm pretty sure the market's closed Monday. Anyhow, if the market's open Monday, we'll be here. If it's not, we will see you Tuesday. And if you're new to the crew, we do have a couple new folks in the room. Thanks for joining. If check out OTOTnow.com, you have more academic resources. So when you hear me talking about are this, are that, you'll know exactly what we are talking about. All right, let's go over to TD Ameritrade Think Pipes platform. We always take a look at the big picture here first. And here on the screen, you can see the basically a 9-month look at the S&P 500. It's almost like a broken record every day because it's been straight up. It's been that kind of year. So depending on your type of investing and risk, you've been healthily, is that a word? Rewarded for sticking to the course. But here we go. Here's a big, a little bit of a red number from yesterday. We're almost 1% down in the red today already. So are we finally coming to terms with some of the euphoria we've had after the election wearing off, and now we're going to see some selling going into the inauguration? We'll see. If you were listening earlier, they're talking about several of the big banks this morning are very optimistic about 2021. They are looking at that through the lens of the fact that money printing, stimulus, the economy is going to come flying back out of the hold that COVID has had on it. And I do agree that that is one force that's acting, but we also know that there's some tax reform coming. So if the corporate tax rate alone goes from 21% back to 35, that's a 14% haircut right across the, right across the bottom line, because that money is coming out of revenue and going to taxes. So we shall see. Maybe that'll start getting some press here. All right, as we focus into how we've done this week, basically, this was yesterday, so you had the kind of the negativity continuing on into this morning. So again, trajectory's down. So I lead with the shorts for day trading. So I'm thinking Wells Fargo shorting first, and I'm looking for other things to develop. I don't really have, only have a few other names. I didn't even put them in the chat room, but we can flex to those and see how things are going. Here's our setup for the day trading. Again, PLTR long, MJ long, and Wells Fargo short. Speaking of Wells Fargo, you can see I've zoomed out to a 5-day here, so you can just get a an idea that during yesterday we're up to 35. They're already down to 33. I'm on the mic this morning, so I'm not going to buy shares early. But you could, if you're going to pick up a normal R unit view for you is 3,000 shares short. You could short 1,000 here. A 1/3 of your short, you could take it now short. I mean, look at this. It's falling off a cliff, and I don't see that changing. I'll go in. And then when you go to your entry point, you already have a piece. So then you're just plussing up. So something to consider for day trading strategy. All right, let's go ahead and come back to the long-term investing impact. Here's our CNBC. Move this out of the way. Refresh these real quick. So 2/3, half, and the NASDAQ's barely in the red. Let's take a look at Europe. Percent, basically across the board. Asia, mixed. Japan down a little more than the rest. Bonds below 1.1 and a little bit in the red there. Here's our numbers from yesterday. So chart looked bad, but we were in the green most of the day, and it just kind of faded into the red there. Oil stable above 50, no concerns about a small sell-off there. Again, I think money's coming out. Bitcoin's really kind of catching fire, and it's getting a lot more conversations, including mine, with folks. So you see gold and silver. I think money's coming out of the precious names and over into Bitcoin. I say that, of course, they're down 5% this morning, but I think really the long-term forecast for Bitcoin is pretty strong. I was having a conversation last night that there's only ever going to be 21 million of these. 3 million are already lost because people have lost their passwords. So 3 million times 37,000, that's a big number. So there's more people going to lose their passwords. It's that's math. So who's selling their Bitcoin here? Not many. That's why it's continuing. There's going to be some trading, which will cause a 5% move or so. But on the long term, I think their trajectory is higher. Okay, That's not the right button. Let's come back, take a look at some headlines to get all this cleared up. Okay, Biden's, I did not watch it last night. I caught a like 4 sentence summary of what's in it. Checks going here, it's kind of across the top. Checks going to 2,000. Yeah, right. Well, you say that is the password to catch people up that can't see the chat, which is the review, folks. Yeah, you don't want to lose your Bitcoin password. There's one guy, I guess, that lost like $300 million password or so. I was thinking, I can't remember an 8-digit or an 8-character password, let alone these are 132 character passwords. They say they're unhackable. Obviously, nothing's unhackable. I could talk for hours on the mouse and mousetrap philosophy from a military perspective. But yeah, you don't want to lose that password and or die, right? You get hit by a truck because you think you're invincible because you're 51, then all of a sudden game over. And does your spouse know where that lives, or your kids? Probably not, for a reason, but yeah, gone. So anyhow, we'll see. So let's get back to the COVID relief plan. 1.9 trillion thrown more at the problem. Do I think we need relief? Yes. Is that the right number? I don't know. Probably in that ballpark. But the argument is, the devil's in the details of what's going to happen. $15 minimum wage across nationwide. I think that's probably an agenda item that's being shoved into a COVID relief bill. It really shouldn't, temporarily, maybe, if that's what your point is, but not till the end of time, right? And that's what's kind of been thrown in there. Also, the checks going from 600 to 2,000. So if you already have your check, it'll be plussed up by 1,400. There was also a student loan relief of $10,000 in there. So my question, which I haven't seen the answer to, is what if you're in college right now? Do you take a loan knowing it's going to be relieved by the end of the year? So I think that we'll do almost an entire bit on a morning of that to see what's going on with the student loan relief, because if it is, why not go spend 10,000 to go get a certificate this year if you're just going to get it relieved? It's basically free at that point. Not that you should look at it like that, but a lot of people will. Okay. JP Morgan obviously crushed earnings this morning. The stock's going higher. I'll show you that chart here in a second. Oh, I haven't seen this. Two new MacBook Pro laptops, MagSafe. Okay, we'll get into that. I haven't done a piece on Apple in a while. All right, I don't see anything in here that we need to talk about. So, whoops, look at these names: Apple, Spotify, Zoom, Snap, Tesla. That's like all of the big names that are in motion. All right, we're not going to talk about them today, though. Let's take a look at banks. So banks make money through net interest margin, right? You take your money in, you hand it to the banker. They go, "Thank you so much. We'll put it right into your account right away, sir." No, that is actually not what happens. That immediately flows to the other side of their balance sheet, and that's now dollar bill, y'all, that they can turn around and loan to somebody else at 4, 5, 7, 15%, whatever they can get for their money, right? And they keep the difference. That's called arbitrage. That's called net interest margin. If you figure that out, that's why in a small town America, you have one McDonald's, one Taco Bell, one Walmart, and 7 banks, right? And that's how Schwab makes money. That's how TD America makes money, is people have money just sitting there, not knowing what to do with it, and boom, they know what to do with it. I also say, I know what to do with it. So you have money sitting in an account, put it in your brokerage account, get your 3.5%, and move on from there. Okay, so that's JPM. I want to take a look over at. Oh, here, I want to show you something real quick before we leave this. Is scroll down here. Look at the move in this since the election. We've gone up from 105 to 141. Is it a buy? Is it cheap? Look at the numbers. Forward P, current PE of 18, forward PE of 15. Yes, it's cheap. You get 2.5% along the way. It is a best of breed, absolutely. The horse is good, the jockey's good with Jamie Dimon. He's an amazing person. He's been in charge longer than any other CEO, and he was in charge through 2007 through 2009. So you really can't get better than that. So let's go over here and take a look at all of the names real quick. So you have JP Morgan in the upper left. You have Goldman Sachs, which has been on fire. Again, investment banking, IPOs, that sort of thing. Wells Fargo is more of your neighborhood bank. So less of that, and they're down this morning like 5% already. LCNB is a small bank. Don't forget there are small banks out there that you can own. It has done fairly well, especially being down at $10 here back in March. If you want to own groups of banks, you can own the big banks through KBE, which is a big bank ETF, or you can own the regional banks, which is KRE. So a couple different ways to own banks there. I generally stay out of banks except for JP Morgan best of breed. You can make an argument for Bank of America. I wouldn't. I would just go right with JP Morgan. All right, looking at some of our day trading names here, we have about a minute to go. The one I want to show you is just Wells Fargo real quick. 2 million shares, it's gapping down. This move up is what I like, and that's why it has so much downside here, is this is 10 days, and look at the room it's got to fall. So that's going to be our short for today. The rest are in the chat. Saw somebody join late. Boom. There's what we're going to look at as we switch over to TD Ameritrade and get set up. All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the On Time, On Target play of the day. We've got 4 screens in front of you on TD Ameritrade here. We have SPY watching the market. The market's in the red this morning, almost over 0.5%, and the trajectory is down. So we're looking at the short first, which is all the way over here to the right at Wells Fargo. There's the opening bell. So looking at Wells Fargo short first, we'll take it right here at, hopefully it bounces, but we're looking at about a 35-cent stop. So we'll see what the high of the day gets marked is here, and then we'll get our entry point. Let's zoom in there. So looking at taking pretty quick, so I have that under the hammer. The other 2 that we're looking at, I have longs in there for Palantir and MJ. I'm staring at Wells Fargo right now. Again, looking at Wells Fargo short is what I'm looking at for an entry. If it comes down to 33, I'm going to take it, and with about a 30-cent stop, right? Because here's there's the high of the day. Now, in a perfect world, this would be amazing if this got all the way up to like 34 before it turned around and short and can't short. So that's short covering if it goes all the way up here. But looking at 2 million shares here in the first minute, there's plenty. So again, looking for this to come back down here to 33, and then we're going to take it short. So get the arrow drawn in there while we wait. And again, we're better off if it moves higher so we can get a better entry point. Let's get off the 5-minute chart, get into 1 minute. There we go. So still 33 is going to work with that 35-cent stop. So we basically need $1 move to the downside. So if we take it at 33, it's got to go to 32. We may creep that up here. I may take it at 33.10. I like this action. These are called dojis to the upside. So the more this creeps up here, the better off we are. Now, if it creeps up, $2, then the trade's broken and we aren't going to take it. So keeping an eye on what's going on in Wells Fargo there, looking to get in short. So we have some positivity in the market. Palantir's going higher. Excuse me. I like Palantir long. Marijuana theme, we talked about it in the open. Marijuana's going long, even ahead. It's not that big. That's 30 cents. Looks bigger than it is. Okay, if you got in Palantir, that's great. If not, don't take it here. We're still waiting on Wells Fargo South. So keep your tickers or your tickets open and ready for this for an entry point. Some other names short, PDD, Chinese name, Pinduoduo, if I have that correct. It was selling off earlier, not so much now. Triple D, 3D Systems got a downgrade this morning. So they're down 10% already, so can't really take that to the downside. Had another one, SSYS, Stratasys. That did not work at all. They were gapped. They were down to like 8%. And they basically climbing higher. Okay, market's starting to reverse. Our name's starting to reverse. 33.5 is above the high of the day, so that's where we want to put our stop. So we'd back down to 33.15. I'd be comfortable with a 33.20 short here entry here with a 30-cent stop. Maybe even 33.25. So it'd be 33.25 all the way up to 33.55. This chart's kind of torquing me off this morning. All right. Still got to be patient for it. We're not in it yet. We do need for it to reverse and go south on us. MJ selling off a little bit again, still up big on the day. Trying to see if you could turn around and take it long here. We're going to get this entry on Wells Fargo. So let's go 33.30, starting to strike down 33.30. Wait for it to hit. There it is, 33.30. We'll go with a 25-cent stop all the way up to 33.55. I'm going to draw it up here at 52, but it's really 55. If it gets close to that, I will update it. So 55, that is a 25-cent stop. So we're looking short 33. Go Friday morning math, 33.05 is the first R here. Get that drawn in. So again, entered 33.30. 25 off of this is now down to 32.80 and an exit point of 32. Brain hurts, 55. Okay, so entry point at 33.30. We're up an R. We'll kind of let it go. So you can see how this is a good pattern for a short. So this is kind of short covering, short covering, short covering. And then you get these dojis where it's trying to go higher, can't. Trying to go higher, can't. Trying to go higher, can't. Same thing here, trying to go higher, can't, and rolls over. And that's when you try to catch it. So there's the 32.80 is what I said is the next point for the 2R. And then 32.55 is our exit. So now you're up in the trade big, so you don't have to stare at it anymore. So you've got your upper stop, down 1R, 33.55. You're going to be out. That's above the high of the day. It'd have to go all the way back here higher. Otherwise, just hang out to 32.55 as your exit to the downside. Okay, have that set up. Let's take a look at some other names here. Stratasys is climbing higher, so nope. CRISPR. So CRISPR, CRSP, some folks have a little bit of this. CRISPR Therapeutics, this is gene therapy, genomics, I don't know how you say that. I need to look at that. But anyhow, yeah, manipulation of genes. There you go. That's an easier way to say it. That is, you've got that going on, and that's a theme to get behind. To put money behind, because you're going to see that going forward. So it's kind of like biotechnology, if you will. So that name's been on fire. There's another name, I'm blanking on it right now. I don't have it. Anyhow, that's also a good name to be in. So you're going to hear more about that. All right, let's talk about, let's see, PLTR. We'll check back on PLTR. See how it's doing. So it's climbing higher. So not really an entry point. There was maybe an entry point here. That'd have been tough. You'd have had to wait for it to bottom out, 25.80, probably take it at 26 with the 30-cent stop up to 27. You might have been able to do that. That'd have been a tough trade though. All right, market's still kind of leaning more red, even though Palantir is going higher. I like that from a long-term investor. Our trade's just fine. You'll see this big stripe down that shows strength to the downside. This will be short covering again. It'll go up here, doji for a while, and then stripe back down is what I expect to see there. All right, get rid of Palantir, even though I like the way it looks. Just got a text that Luckin is selling off like a beast. So let's take a look at the world of Luckin. So again, it was at $10. Let's back up 5-day chart. So here you go, 820. 3 days ago? So this would have been Tuesday. Let's move $1 high fives. Let's move another $1 high fives. Let's go up to another 65 cents high fives, and it's given some of that back. So yeah, profit taking all the way down to 9 and then going back higher. So phone is literally blowing up in front of me on a LK. Don't you worry, it's fine. It does have to rain in paradise sometimes. Is it an entry point to buy more? No, stay clear. Now, if you get down to $8 again, I would say yes, that's a clear buy. But here you're in kind of no man's land, so just let it go. All right. So this is starting to go back red again, so I expect to see it stripe down. As much fun as it is to watch, we're going to look away for a second. So we've got to see what's going on. We got Palantir CLXPF, which I can't remember exactly what that is. I want to say it's a therapeutic penny stock. I should know everything. I shouldn't know everything, but should know what that is. Multiple tryptamine derivatives. Oof. It's not good when you Google the ticker and you get like nothing. It's Cybin. Okay, that's the name of the company. Yeah, I think it's a biotech, off into some really kind of off the reservation stuff. It is a penny stock. There you have it. Palantir is up big. YCBD is obviously a marijuana name. You can see the CBD in the name right there. Zoom's up big again. I'm kind of curious as to why. I haven't found a reason there other than it's been selling off. You know, I like MJ, so take that long. This is MedMen. If you remember MedMen, we were in this stock and it was down near $1 and I had to bail on it, and look at where it is now. Angry, right? So yeah, here's where Steve is in the name. And then I look away for 5 seconds and now it's up at $3. Crazy, right? I may look at this again. I was sitting down with an investor yesterday and he's like, dude, you in MedMen? And I was like, no, left that thing for dead. Oops. So it's kind of pulling a luck in here from where it went. Let me look into that as far as a name. So jury's out on MedMen, but it's back alive again. MongoDB, Tencent Holdings, Facebook, ARC, the whole ARC series of ETFs have been on fire. A lot of innovation there. Twilio back in play. FireEye, cybersecurity. You know, I like CIBR a little better, which is all the way down here at the bottom left. Take the whole fund. It's hard to pick a cybersecurity name. Okay, let's look on to what's to the downside. Bitcoin selling off today. So if you want some, not a bad day to pick up some. Got Luckin selling off. We know about that. AV was up. Its Aero Environment was up 30% yesterday. So I'm not sweating the sell off like at all. Helion and Nikola are EV/hydrogen names that you know about. Energy selling off. QClean, again, clean energy. So basically energy names are kind of taking it hard today. Here's the XLF. I probably should have mentioned this since we're talking bank stocks. If you like bank stocks, which again, I don't, I only like JP Morgan, you can buy the entire XLF. For banks to make money, I think you would need a lot higher interest rate than the one we're at right now. So that's my take on bank stocks. So JP Morgan, if you want it, steer clear of the rest. All right, let's check our trade. Didn't go down as far as I thought it would. So anyhow, we will check back on that right before we leave. Let's go over to Google Chrome. There's the Cybin chart that we were talking about. So do your research before you hop in something like that. Okay, let's look at Investopedia, which was the earnings release. So when you hear earnings, what is going on there? Excuse me. So there's three things that come out from an earnings release. And what you have is it's a little bit of accounting. So yeah, if you are in the process of learning accounting or you never did learn your accounting, so you have your top line, which is revenue. That's all the money coming in, total revenue. So they announced that for the quarter, the previous quarter. So right now we're on January 15th. So this is for the fourth quarter. So the earnings for Christmas season, if you will. So you have the top line, how much money did we pull in? Then you have all your expenses, your payroll, your taxes, your cost of goods sold, all of the expenses. And then you have profit at the bottom. So that's your bottom line. So they announced top line, how much money is coming in. Bottom line, how much we all kept after we paid everybody, which then gets into, you take that amount, which is total earnings, divide that by the number of outstanding shares, and that's your new earnings per share. That's how stocks are valued. Now, that's not how people buy and sell a whole lot, because I mean, Tesla's got like 1,000 PE. You know, there's things that can get kind of crazy, but that's accounting stuff. So when earnings release, say it's at 6 a.m. Eastern, that's an arbitrary time, but it's known. So you can sit at the keyboard if you're like Mr. Trader, diehard kind of person. You can sit at the keyboard. You can program your algo to detect keywords, and if it hears any of those keywords in the first 15 seconds, you can program your computer to hop in and short it, or hop in and go long, or whatever you want to do. Just realize once you start programming the computer, it's going to execute exactly what you asked for. careful what you ask for. I'd rather manually sit there and listen and process it as a human and then go. So what does that mean? You're always going to be behind the computer. A computer can always do it faster than you. You don't want to try to do that. But what you want to try to do is take advantage of the overreaction. So a lot of times at the earnings release, the the numbers go boom off to the internet. They're released. Nobody has them early. You don't have to worry about that. The penalty's too high for insider trading. And everybody that's on the inside is locked out from trading this. So they have to announce their buy and sells ahead of time and register with the SEC that they're actually going to do it. So nobody's speeding on this. So it's truly boom, the information's available. It pops up on the internet and Twitter and everything else, and you're off to the races. So that's the numbers. And then that the stock starts to move up or down, right or wrong, doesn't matter. Stock starts jumping around. And then about an hour later, sometimes half an hour, but the company has what's called a conference call. And during the conference call, that's when they talk about, you have generally a compliance person talks first, says blah, 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 the standard compliance stuff. And then you generally have the CEO welcoming everybody, and they hand it off to the CFO, and the CFO starts talking these numbers. That's a little bit boring. But it gets into the accounting, and then it goes back to the CEO, sometimes the COO, but usually the CEO to talk about the forward projections. And that's what the company is doing for the next 4 quarters and how they're guiding. So you might hear guiding up or guiding down. Kohl's, the discount retailer where you go get your, buy your shirt or belt or whatever. They're going to crush it in the 4th quarter because of Christmas, and then have earnings guide down the rest of the year. That's known. So just because Kohl's guides down doesn't, there may be a reason for it, right? Sony would have to guide down after the PlayStation release, but basically they project out for the next 4 quarters, and every new quarter, there's already projections there. So if they're moving those up or down, that is the guiding up or down. And then past that, they tack on another quarter. So they're guiding a year out. Now, when we hit COVID, what was different back in April is companies were just releasing top and bottom line. And they're like, we don't have any idea what's going to happen. So we're not going to announce any guidance. So they also have the option of not doing that. A good time to hop in and short a name is if earnings date is 15 Jan at 3 p.m. today, and a company makes an announcement that we're not ready for our earnings. Oopsies, right? That means they messed it away, and there's some issue. And generally, stocks crater when the team goes, we're not ready to go live with our earnings when we said we would. Right? Bad. So you don't want to do that. So, all right, that's a little bit about earnings. We will check back to our trade real quick. Let's go back. All right, so zoom out a touch, show you where we entered and what to do with this trade. So we entered 33, we're down here, it's hanging out. You see the trajectory is down. If you back out all the way, you can see the trajectory is really down. So yeah, just hold this. Keep your upper stop. If Wells Fargo all of a sudden decides to make the high of the day, what? Not going to happen, right? So you're safe in this trade. There's your entry point. I wouldn't necessarily take more here. If you wanted to get crazy stupid on a Friday, you could take more here and expecting it to go down. But then again, that moves your target down to like 31.50 to make your money. So if you didn't get in it, I would just take a pass. But if you're in it, certainly hold for your exit point of 32.55. And you might even hold some past that, especially if the whole market rolls over today. So, all right, that's what I've got for you today. Thanks so much for listening in. Again, I can't remember whether the market's open Monday or not. I should have known. I should have looked that up. Market schedules and holidays are weird. You'd think it'd be 1 for 1, right? Any holiday, and but anyhow, so I will, if the market's open on Monday, we'll be back. If not, we'll see you guys Tuesday. You have a good weekend and talk to you soon.